U.S. Prohibition, 1920 to 1933. The growing temperance movement in the 19th century and the Anti-Saloon League had argued that drinking alcohol was damaging American society by destroying families and creating corruption. During the First World War, as America entered the conflict in 1917, Woodrow Wilson put a temporary end to the manufacture of alcohol to save grain for the war effort. Religious and moral reasons also fueled the desire to restrict alcohol. The anti-drinking movements took advantage of this to encourage the government to make prohibition a permanent law, and in January 1919, the amendment was ratified as part of the Constitution. Prohibition began in the United States in January 1920, after the 18th Amendment became effective, making the manufacture and sale of alcohol now illegal. Even though arrests for drunkenness initially declined, the law was very difficult to enforce as public demand surged for illegal alcohol. On top of this, there weren't enough prohibition agents to enforce it. Bootleggers found inventive ways of manufacturing and selling liquor. They created homemade moonshine or bathtub gin and smuggled it into cities and bars. Some bars became speakeasies. In order to sell illegal alcohol, they were secret. Because of the shared problem of prohibition, all kinds of people from different sections of society gathered in them. One such group that owned many of the speakeasies and profited from the prohibition were organized crime groups. Al Capone and Bugs Moran battled for control over the bootlegging and speakeasy trade, resulting in gang violence and a shocking crime wave across America. Between 1927 and 1930, there were hundreds of gang murders, with the most famous being the St. Valentine's Day Massacre in Chicago in 1929. Al Capone's men, some dressed up as policemen, killed several members of Moran's gang with machine guns while lined up against a wall. The murders were never officially linked to Capone. Eventually, Capone was brought down by a prohibition agent named Eliot Ness for violating prohibition law and tax evasion. In the same year, the Wickersham Commission had reported how prohibition had been failing. Many Americans never wanted the law, and prohibition agents were too few in number and easy to bribe. As well as this, it was clear that crime had risen rather than decreased before alcohol was illegal. In February 1933, Congress passed the 21st Amendment, ending prohibition. During Prohibition, millions of dollars worth of business went to bootleggers instead of the brewing industry. Subscribe for more history videos. Get Simple History, the Roaring Twenties, and Dirty Thirties today.
Thank you for all your support on the Simple History YouTube channel. If you enjoy the channel, please consider supporting us at Patreon.